start 25 minutes flight to Bikaner.
Namaste. Welcome, everyone. Donald Trump said he is the president of peace, and then he ends up striking Venezuela and capturing Maduro. And as you see, the long lost son of Nicolas Maduro, I don't know what his name is. He's just the long lost son of Nicolas Maduro. Abhijit Iyer-Mitra is here. My first question, Abhijit, this level of strike, can it happen without the Venezuelan military not being in the know? Ki we are coming, we're going to pick him up and we're going to take him. I think this was a fixed match. Like, the Americans can be that capable. I am sorry. Like, they just whoop in, take him up, and go out in a country like Venezuela. Thoda hard to believe.
First, viva la revolución, viva la República Bolivariana de Venezuela. Now, you'll excuse my slightly Andalusian accent, but anyway. The most telling, I don't think the Venezuelan military were in on it, but I think several members of it had been bribed. And the main reason is when you see there's that a video of Apaches hitting the compound for Tatiuna. Where is the counterfire? Because even counterfire, you can see because of the heat discharge, you can see at least the emission of shots going from the ground against those things, right? You're not seeing it. So very clearly somebody was bribed, or many people were bribed, except the Cubans, of whom 32 died. And I suspect the Cubans were there because he didn't trust his own staff, and so they got in crack Cuban troops to protect him, who were mostly the ones who were killed. But then the question is, why haven't we seen any imagery of them shooting back?
Look, like, for me, my brain cannot register the fact that Apaches get inside Caracas. They are there in the airspace for a while, right? Like, whatever, stealth, wealth, jo bhi hai tumhare military terms hote hain, but they're there. They're quite recognizable. It's not, you have to compromise that entire area for something like this to happen. I think what must have happened is the Americans would have told them, या तो हम तुम्हारे को इतने बड़े बड़े बम मारेंगे सालो कि तुम्हारी पूरी फट के फ्लावर हो जाएगी, या तो हमको उस उल्लू के पट्टे को लेके जाने दो। उस उन्होंने मिलिट्री को ये बोला होगा। यार कैसे, मतलब तू मेरे को एक बात बता ना कि कैसे हो सकता है?
हो तो सकता है. See, just because we can't do it doesn't mean everybody else can't do it. Look, ultimately what Israel did to Hezbollah, Hamas, and all those people. So it can very much be done. That is not the issue. The issue here is the knockdown consequences and the sheer illegality of what has happened out here. I don't think something this illegal has been done in a few hundred years. To go in, see, before, at least when you killed a opposing head of state, it was done covertly. You've gone in, you've taken him prisoner, and you've taken him out to stand trial based on absolutely no international jurisdiction, save the jurisdiction of your own courts. Very, very, very dangerous. I think you're going to see a whole load of unintended consequences where this will be used as the legal precedent for things to come. And remember, it's very easy to set a legal precedent. All you have to do is you have to keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and it becomes legal. This is what happened with targeted assassinations. So drone assassinations were initially considered illegal because they had not been authorized by a judicial body. So they came up with authorization by a quasi-judicial body, did it often enough, and then it became perfectly legal internationally to do it. Now, this has emboldened them. And we need to remember Venezuela is, despite its size and what its wealth used to be, Even Rwanda and Burundi are much more capable than this. Andorra and Liechtenstein, I'm sure the Principality of Liechtenstein has more professional armed forces than Venezuela right now. Venezuela, their ship tried to ram a civilian cruiser, a military ship, and the military ship sank despite all the armor and everything. During a exercise, their amphibious craft sank. Their air force is unserviceable. See, so their morale is very low. They are completely compromised and things like that. With a stronger enemy, tougher but doable. Maybe not by us, but by the Americans, definitely doable.
Okay, fair enough. Now,
Mind you, this isn't the first time this has happened. Remember in Afghanistan, I think it was Babrak Kamal. It was the Russian Spetsnaz that went in. There was a heavy firefight. Lots of people died. But Babrak Kamal was killed. And that is when Najibullah, I think, became the president. And that this was in the first year or two of the Afghan civil war, or the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. So, not the first time, but remember at that point, the Russians never publicly admitted to it. They killed Babrak Kamal. I think it was Babrak Kamal, I forget. But anyway, the Afghan president before Najibullah. And nobody ever spoke about it. The details became known much, much later, and it was disowned as something illegal. Here, the legality, the illegality of it has been talked about, embraced, and admitted.
okay, why do you think there is a certain commentary in India that is trying to do, mental gymnastics around the fact that, oh, you don't know, America did not attack it for oil. Like Trump is literally saying कि भाई मैं तेरे तेल के लिए आया हूँ in no uncertain terms. So the follow up is, okay, everybody knows they went there for the oil. And yes, I get it. Marco Rubio, I think you shared that bit on your Twitter timeline. मैं तेरे यहाँ से ही शायद देखा था, where Marco Rubio very clearly said, this is the Western Hemisphere, यहाँ के पप्पा हम किसी को नहीं आने देंगे, China, Russia not allowed. Now, if that is the case, see, what I am not able to understand is the kind of oil Venezuela gets, because I started then reading up on all of this, is that thick sadela oil. It is not the shale oil kind of, greenish tinge wala oil that the Americans have.
No, no, no. Oil is the same. Oil is oil. You put it through a fractional distillation, and that distills the oil. All oil looks ugly and black. It is then all crude looks ugly and black. There is no difference between shale,
No,
what shale.
Abhijit, is the viscosity. Viscosity of the product is very different.
Viscosity change hota hai. There is a filtration process and things, but they are all, in fact, shale oil is a lot worse, because to get shale, you're literally pumping an extraordinarily toxic substance underground that melts stone. So shale oil, in fact, is much tougher to refine than regular oil produced by wells, and it still all has to go through the distillation tower, where kerosene comes out at a different temperature, diesel comes out at a different temperature, petrol comes out at a different temperature. Now, look at this. This is him today. So even so, it had nothing to do with drugs. It had nothing to do with drugs, because then you wouldn't threaten them again and say, oh, you also have to kick out China, Russia, Iran. This is today's news.
तो किया क्यों है?
It was entirely done for oil, boss. It is there in the national security strategy. Go check my tweet out. I've tweeted out the national security strategy of 2025.
रुक
ये
जा,
मैं,
अभी खोल रहा हूँ.
let me send you the
शेयर
tweet.
ही कर देना.
1 second.
आलसी खुद का ट्वीट मुझे भेज रहा है.
Hmm.
क्या
This
आदमी
I
है तो.
think because I don't have Twitter on my desktop. Uh,
डेस्कटॉप पे नहीं है.
no. 1 second. Let me just send this to ya. Here.
किस पे भेजा
Uh,
तूने? व्हाट्सएप किया तूने?
should I send it to you on Twitter itself?
हाँ, ट्विटर पे डीएम कर.
Okay. Sent.
Okay. Hmm. Got it. Sharing the screen right now. Oh wow, this is so brazen.
It
Ayla.
is. So bring it up.
Yeah, here you go. It is up.
Okay. The first one, I want you to see this. We want a Western Hemisphere free of hostile foreign incursion or ownership of key assets, and that supports critical supply chains. And we want to ensure our continued access to key strategic locations. In other words, we will assert and enforce a Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. Second highlighted part, we want to prevent an adversarial power from dominating the Middle East, its oil and gas supplies, and the choke points through which they pass, while avoiding the forever wars that bog down the region at great cost. Next photo. Okay. Principled without being idealistic. It is motivated above all by what works for America. If a principle does not work for America, it is discarded. If a law does not work for America, it is discarded. Next.
This is next level foreign policy postmodernism.
Now, we will deny non hemispheric competitors the ability to position forces or other threatening capabilities, or to own or control strategically vital assets, which is what oil is, in our hemisphere. This Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine is a common sense and potent restoration of American power and priorities consistent with American security interests. Now, if some idiot is telling you that this isn't about oil, combined with the news item where he says no, this thing to China, Russia, Iran, and this, boy, they themselves are telling you it is about oil.
Have you seen another more brazen and direct American government apparatus than this one? They are just saying the quiet part out loud. They're not even using flowery language anymore.
They're not. And see, this is a good thing because this was always de facto American practice without it being stated out loud. Now it's been stated out loud. Now, the biggest benefactor of this is Vladimir Ilyich Putin. And the biggest dunce who's going to get it up his ass is Zelensky. Because essentially, what Trump has now said and has been saying since this 2025 document is that there are zones of influence. Nobody should cross red lines in somebody else's zone of influence. Putin has
And
designated Ukraine a zone of influence. Now, if Maduro is convicted by an American court not recognized by international law and can be taken out, Putin doesn't need international validation or an international resolution against Zelensky. He just needs a conviction by a Russian court to take out Zelensky. Have you noticed Zelensky hasn't been seen in the last 2-3 days since Maduro came out, got captured?
I have not.
There's absolutely nothing, no new video of Zelensky. Zero new
No,
video
but
of Zelensky. He's probably shitting bricks and hiding somewhere because he now knows if the Russians decide to strike where he is with a missile, he's finished.
no, but the Chinese will do it to Taiwan.
Taiwan is not Ukraine. Taiwan is not Venezuela. Taiwan is it's a first world country. Its per capita income is 3-4 times that of Ukraine. Uh, it has never been war ravaged or anything. They're highly professional people. They have a very sophisticated military, and more importantly, they've got about 100 kilometers of ocean separating them. So remember, the German war machine found it impossible to conquer Britain with 40 kilometers of sea. 100 kilometers of sea, the last I checked, is a lot more than 40 kilometers of sea. Not easy. Not easy. Will they try to take out the president of Taiwan? Sure, they could. We can take out Muhammad Yunus as per this law. We can take out Asim Munir as per this law. But
I was
as a
just going to come to this.
yeah, as a rule, countries avoid leadership decapitation targeting as a rule. Uh, it's not set in stone, but as a rule, you avoid it because if you do it to some other leader, somebody else can do it to you.
Look, this is what I wanted to spend a good 20
Which is
minutes on.
why, which is why Israel killed off the entire Iranian Air Force leadership. They killed off Hezbollah and Hamas's leadership, but they did not kill the Lebanese president. They never killed the Syrian president. They will not kill the Iranian president or supreme leader.
So, do you think the Americans are going to hit Iran now?
They're trying to. I can tell you, the Iranian leadership is shitting bricks. They were shitting bricks even before when the Israeli campaign started. The Israelis were giving out the exact location of where Khamenei was. So Khamenei knew that the Iranians knew where he was, which is why he never appeared during the bombing campaign. No? You understand? Uh,
Hmm.
but they can totally do this with Iran, by the way. Because remember, Iran has all kinds of obsolete. I mean, you saw how the Iranian military collapsed during the Israeli campaign. All they could shoot down was what? One or two unarmed drones, propeller driven drones that fly at like 200 kilometers per hour. Not even close to supersonic. Basically, what some idiot child does on the Delhi Agra highway in a BMW.
Hmm. I
Mm.
want to focus on the Indian angle in all of this and how this whole Venezuelan thing impacts India. Because I was trying to read up on our refinery capacity and what kind of oil we can refine and what our refineries in India prefer. So, lo and behold, our refineries prefer this Venezuelan oil.
Yeah, see, we are accustomed to bad quality oil, be it from Iran, be it from Russia, be it from Venezuela. Okay, so the West, what they focus on is going on upgrading their equipment every 5 to 7 years. But ever since and it makes the quality I mean it makes the purity of extraction better. The oil, you can't change the quality based on extraction, right? It's basically a pump. It's just the greater fuel efficiency of the pump. Shale changes it somewhat because the way shale works is, think of it this way: you want to turn rock into a sponge, so you literally dissolve the rock. It's a highly toxic compound that is injected. Imagine it melts rock, at which point you can extract it. Which is why fracking is an extraordinarily dangerous thing. First, it involves drilling deep. Second, any idiot knows that anything powerful enough to be dissolving stone is probably not something you want injected into the earth anywhere near you. Okay. We are suited to thick. Now, there are regional variations depending on what kind of deposits they are. Because remember, not all petrol is the same. We know it's all basically dinosaur organic material that that died and got compressed heavily. Okay, through forces of nature and whatever. T-Rex would have produced a different kind of petrol from, I guess, Diplodocus. Apparently, Diplodocus is no longer considered a dinosaur. Is it Diplodocus or a Brontosaurus that's no longer considered a dinosaur? I
देख
forget
भाई,
now.
मेरे को ऐसे क्वेश्चन मत पूछ। मैंने सिर्फ जुरासिक पार्क देखी है, मेरे को कोई डायनासोर के बारे में मालूम नहीं है।
Okay. So maybe one has 50% Triceratops, 10% Diplodocus, 25% Tyrannosaurus Rex, different fat content, different whatever, different protein, this thing, different formula for this thing. So all of these things matter, fine, but the basic component is the same. Our refineries have actually been upgraded. So it's not true. They are also very well suited for the kind of crude America produces, which is shale crude. Some shale crude, but a lot of non-shale crude also. America has very significant reserves of oil itself, by the way, which people don't seem to realize. Uh, Non-shale oil of the Texas oil fields and things like that. Uh, Sorry, in the Gulf of Mexico. So it's fine. We can do a lot of things.
What I have understood is Jamnagar refinery is very well equipped for this.
Jamnagar is equipped for everything. People don't realize this, but Jamnagar is most probably the most advanced refinery because it has been constantly updated. They have multiple different kinds of distillation towers for different kinds of fractional splitting of whatever crude comes in. At one point, it used to be uniquely matched to Iranian crude. Not anymore. Now they're able to deal with all kinds of crude.
Would buying Venezuelan oil be cheaper for us or buying the Russian one?
No, it really depends on the price. You see, the thing about Venezuela, let me bring up a map and show you this. See, Venezuela is in the Atlantic Ocean, right? And it's really, really far. So, wait, maps.google.com, Vezenolia. Okay, let me change this to. Okay, let me share this. Okay, can you see Venezuela here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now see, American crude can come to us very directly like so. Uh, Comes here, Gulf of Mexico, all the way through here to India. Venezuela has to go through the Panama Canal. Who owns the Panama Canal now these days after threats? Seems like everybody has forgotten that America promised to take over the Panama Canal as well. But
Mm.
anyway, America has de facto control pretty much over the Panama Canal, so they're not going to let you. The other way he can do it is you come from here, you go here, which means you have to slow down twice, three times actually. From here, you have to slow down at Gibraltar, go through extremely crowded waters, then go through the Suez Canal, go through the pirate infested waters of the Red Sea, and transit through here. And finally, this and this area, this is less pirate of Djibouti uh, and Eritrea. This is more pirate. This is in fact pirate central. Two failed states, Yemen and Somalia, which is now Somaliland, by the way. This has now become Somaliland. So now they how this slows down. The second way you can do it is, and Cape of Good Hope is a horrible sail. It's truly nasty going here. So understand, American crude is easier to come to India than Venezuelan crude because it is not just the cost of the crude. It is cost of crude plus transportation. And because of the blockade, Venezuelan ships, nobody wants to insure Venezuelan ships and things like that. So high risk, higher cost, and things like that as well. As long as they were willing to sell it not at market price to keep currency flowing, it was fine. Now, I doubt that very much.
So basically, for India, it's more Iranian and Russian. That's where we would be better off.
Iranian, Russian, a lot from the Arab Peninsula.
Hmm. So in this entire process, what I have not understood is there was this whole criticism of the government of India that we are not issuing any statement uh, about this entire thing, and then we did issue a statement where we did not do Kadi Ninda of anyone. But the point being, like, what is Kadi Ninda going to achieve?
Why are we required to condemn it? Okay, I condemn I, Abhijit Iyer-Mitra, condemn the illegal American action in Venezuela. Who gives a flying fuck?
That's the whole point. Who
Yeah,
cares? Like
because
America
understand.
basically said, "मैं तुमको मारेगा, तुमको क्या लेना देना?"
See, Krishna Menon was the Kaya Kalas of his days. Kaya Kalas is that a blonde
Oh, Kaju
bimbo,
Katli.
uh, Kaju Katli of the EU, so-called foreign minister of the EU, who keeps talking shit 24/7. If the term bimbo ever applied to somebody, they should change it from bimbo to Kaya. Kaya is the new bimbo. Now, she does all this Krishna Menon style moral grandstanding. Okay, tell me in the last 10, 15 years, when have we done moral grandstanding? We've shut up and minded our own business. Why should we do
Hmm.
moral grandstanding? Because some people want to do moral grandstanding. उनको moral grandstanding करने तो उनको करने दो ना.
Yeah, I think it's a
Wo-
Canadian thing. Canadians are the best at moral grandstanding.
If now let's look at the pros and cons. If we condemn America, is America going to stop doing anything? Are they going to say sorry and return Maduro? No. Is Venezuela going to give us a discount on oil if we condemn America? No. Are we going to get special oil rights in Venezuela if we condemn America?
No.
No. So remind me again, what is the benefit of condemning America, say for some jackass to feel good about it? I'm sorry, but the interests of 1.4 billion people can't be gambled on the broken heart and bruised ego of some idiot sitting somewhere on earth. We'll condemn things when it's in our interest to condemn things. Right now, it is neither in our interest to acknowledge nor condemn. We've acknowledged it in a very airy, fairy, singy, songy way, not condemned it, by the way. We have acknowledged with grave concern that this has happened, and we've called for restraint and hoped that everybody will return to dialogue,
Hmm.
which is, of course, exactly what we said on Ukraine as well. And remember, that is exactly what the EU keeps saying about India and Pakistan also.
Hmm.
But I have it on very good authority, actually, can you see Modi is calling me? हाँ सर. हाँ सर, मैं वही पॉइंट अभी करने वाला था टीवी प्रोग्राम पे. It's मोदी मोदी. हाँ सर, हाँ सर. So that. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. So that was Modi calling me up right now. He, in fact, just told me, that my tweet was right. He had called up Trump and he told Trump, don't do this to Venezuela. They had actually planned a full scale invasion. And thanks to Modi talking to Trump, the full scale invasion was stopped and only capture of Maduro happened. So Modi for Nobel Prize.
Okay, what do you make of Trump's comment today? Like, what was that nonsense? Like, will an Indian Prime Minister forget Modi or Manmohan Singh or anyone? Will an Indian Prime Minister ever talk like that?
No.
क्या हो रहा है मतलब I think America has reached next level of frustration
To
with
be
us.
fair, we are not America. I think if we were the paramount power, a hyperpower like America is, we would be. भाई इसी औकात में हम अपने आप को विश्वगुरु समझते हैं.
तो देख ला अभी बांग्लादेश के साथ बीसीसीआई क्या भद्दा मजाक कर रहा है खेलेगा खेले तो गार्ड भरा तो
Now, अगर इस हालत में हम अपने आप को विश्वगुरु समझते हैं, when we actually get to America's level of global dominance, I think we will say a lot more. I think our prime minister will declare himself or herself to be the 10th incarnation of Vishnu or the first incarnation of Durga, so on and so forth.
so what's going to happen with our trade deal with the Americans? Like what the hell is happening? I don't know. उसने इतने टैरिफ मारे उसको लगा हम डर जाएंगे हमको हम भी ऐसे ही बैठे हुए हैं.
So basically, what has happened is the trade deal is ready to sign, but Trump wants Sergio Gore to come up with a strategy showing it as a big win. It's not such a big win. He wants it to be shown as a big win. And till that strategy is in place, the media strategy is in place that they won big with India, uh, he's not signing off on it.
But Modi is never going to let him have his big win because Modi's ego is also
Look, he's
equally
agreed to
important.
the deal. He's not agreed to the marketing plan yet.
I don't, you know
And
what
to
the
be
funny
fair,
thing is?
we've given them
Because I,
everything we could. See, we've given them everything we could legally.
yeah,
Some of the things he want are beyond parliament. They are ultra. So, for example, GMO, genetically modified crops. They are illegal in India. You can't pass legislation just to accommodate the US in there. You understand?
mm,
Because that is a court mandated ban of GMO crops. Mm. So there are certain things we absolutely can't do. So soy, no chance, because all American soy and corn are GM.
ये चाइना ने बड़ा फंसा दिया उनका अच्छा खासा खा रहा था खाना अभी चाइना ने बंद कर दिया हमारे पीछे पड़ रहा था तू खा
Mm. But anyway, it's good because the soy leads to high estrogenation.
oh my god
Mm. So pregnant women shouldn't have soy, and soy, uh, well, all this tofu, shofu, and things like that, soy champ and things, massive amounts of everything good in moderation, but soy for men and soy for pregnant women, not a chance in hell.
मेरे को एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी थियरी देखो सुनाने ये बहुत फनी है my conspiracy theory is Maduro did this DJT and Maduro made a deal and this was all staged क्या conspiracy theory है बट अभी so what do you think in the short future वो एक वो लेडी जो थी जिसको पीस प्राइज मिला उसका तो पत्ता साफ तो वो तो आने नहीं वाली है he's made the current government only continue somebody lower rung so basically who's running
Elsie
Venezuela
Flores,
like
the vice president.
yeah so who's gonna run it like the Americans will run it or they will run it like how is it gonna happen like how
Well, he claimed he was going to run Delcy Rodriguez, not Flores, uh, acting president of Venezuela. But look, he claimed he was going to run it. Then Marco Rubio had to come and say, no, we're not running it, but they better behave themselves and listen to us. But Trump in his
yeah
mind thinks that he's already running Venezuela.
okay ये question क्या है Peter Zehan has been for a while about turning back clock on global order to what it was before World War One since it works better for the US are they implementing it in real life now
Kind of, yeah.
okay this is a good question can the French nuclear umbrella extend to Greenland hey अबे Greenland के पीछे पड़ा है वो चाचा
Mm. Mm, yes and no. See, the nuclear umbrella is for external defense against the NATO collective. And France's last nuclear doctrine, which I read, very clearly stated in no uncertain terms that the French nuclear deterrent is not the European deterrent. Now, combine the two statements. It is meant for collective defense of NATO, but it is not the EU deterrent. Now, if a NATO power attacks a NATO power, how are you going to use the deterrent? Second, Denmark is also in the EU, so it depends on what parameter they use at what point of time. Do you really think the French are going to stare down the Americans?
वो मैक्रोन को ऐसे बाइक पे बैठ के इज्जत उतारता रहता है हर दूसरे दिन
Mm.
एक क्या है वो
So,
आदमी बहुत एंटरटेनिंग है
yeah, he's super entertaining, boss. Fun. I don't think we've had this much fun in a very long time.
या आज फिर उसने उंगल की थी बोलता है मेरा तीसरा टर्म होगा तो कितना अच्छा होगा वो जान उसको मालूम है वो जानबूझ के उंगली करता है इतना
Mm.
कमीना है ताकि उसकी जो हरकतें है ना उसको they don't discuss what he's doing then they discuss what he's saying
For the last 3-4 days, I've been on the phone with my friends in Europe. They're actually, in fact, they told me this. that they're taking Greenland very, very, very seriously for the last 2, 3 months. And I was literally laughing, saying, "Boss, why are you taking it seriously?" But they're taking it very. And see, I don't know if I want to take Trump seriously or not on this, because you never know when he's joking around and when he's serious.
He's crazy. Okay, this one with Venezuela now, USA controls 30% of oil supply. Can't the Americans use this to first drive down oil prices to such levels that India and China buy oil from it and Russia goes bust, then increase the
What
price to
makes you
destroy both?
think, what makes you think they want Russia to go bust? You understand the biggest benefactor of this is Putin, because it is proven what Putin was saying about the former USSR, America is now saying about the Western Hemisphere. So the notion that Putin's war is illegal has now been thrown out of the window. It is no longer illegal because America has very clearly said it believes in the same thing, number one. Number two, what makes you think they want the price of oil to come down? You know, American policy and GCC policy and OIC policy, everybody's policy, has
Hmm.
been clear enough that the uh, window for oil prices needs to be low enough that they all make a profit, but high enough that every time renewables and non oil energy gets a push because of the high prices, they bring down the prices to kill off the renewable sector. So it's a constant game they keep playing. Okay, it is in nobody's interest right now to lower prices to the point, because what bankrupts Russia will bankrupt a lot of other countries.
भाई ये इतना बड़ा क्वेश्चन. नमस्कार अभिजीत, how is the India America relation going to go? Also, the fish recipe you gave last time was good. Should I change it a little as I have high BP? भाई ये क्या क्या क्वेश्चन लोग पूछ रहे हैं मेरे चैनल पे.
ये कौन सा फिश रेसिपी था
मेरे को क्या
सूर्य?
मालूम तू क्या क्या करता रहता है. एक तो मेरे पॉडकास्ट पे आके
Hey,
साले खाने के.
I forgot which recipe I gave, Baba.
And why does nobody talk about foreign interference by the Soviets, by intellectuals?
Because it was so in your face supporting them that they don't want to be reminded of their own foreign collaboration. You know, I went for this lovely play by ये राज बब्बर की बेटी, जूही बब्बर, हाँ,
I don't
Juhi
know.
Babar. Lovely play. Ostensibly Urdu, but not really Urdu at all, because everything that was to Urdu was translated into Hindi for us. Uh, she's a brilliant actor, by the way. I did not expect to enjoy it, and I really enjoyed it. And she was telling us, you know, how her grandfather was a member of the progressive, her maternal grandfather was a member of the Progressive Writers Association and things like that. They were communists. Um, her grandfather was Communist Party of India, but was told by the Communist Party to shift to Pakistan, even though his family stayed back here. He went and set up the Communist Party of Pakistan, took part in the same attempted coup that Faiz was jailed for. He was also in jail, and when he came back, he was conferred Indian citizenship in violation of norms, incidentally. And his wife, that is to say, Juhi's maternal grandmother, was employed by the Soviet embassy.
What a,
She was employed by the Soviet embassy. You know, Soviet embassy used to pay for 10,000 copies of a certain newspaper I shall not name. They only used to get 80 or so delivered to the embassy in Delhi and the consulate in Madras and the consulate in Bombay and things. But they used to pay for 10,000 copies every day,
okay,
which was a subsidy.
this is a good question. Russia and China have dumped their allies, be it Maduro, Assad, or Iran. Why should they be trusted after all these examples? They can only bully Ukraine and Taiwan.
Yeah, this is what I've been saying. But it's not the first time Russia has dumped someone. No, Russia dumped Assad. Russia dumped Assad. Ko chodo, Armenia. Armenia is the one we're not talking about. With Assad, with Maduro, there was no formal mutual defense pact. With Armenia, there is an official formal mutual defense pact. And even that they did not comply with. They're like, well, you should, had you annexed uh, 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 Abkhazia, we would have helped. What was it? Nagorno Karabakh, we would have helped you. Artsakh. Um, the Armenians call it Artsakh. The Azeris call it Nagorno Karabakh. Had you annexed it and declared it part of Armenia, we would have helped you. Even though it was the Russians that were pressurizing the Armenians not to accept it and not to annex it, etc., etc. After they annexed South Ossetia, Abkhazia, Donetsk, Lugansk, and everything.
What do
The
you make of
Russians are
Ukrainian?
very, very bad allies. Remember this. And China does not believe in alliances at all.
Actually, in that sense, India is a good ally. Like, ask Sheikh Hasina, and
That's
and
not
India is
really
not good. Uh,
an alliance. That way, you can say Russia is a good ally because look at Assad. Ask Assad. India is not a good ally. India is a terrible ally.
कैसे बात कर रहे हैं यार?
Yeah,
देख
we
ना हमने
started off.
कितना
We
मोहम्मद
started off.
यूनिस को कितना सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं हम लोग.
नहीं नहीं देखो, we started off Balochistan. Chidambaram set Balochistan on fire and then Doval let it go. है ना? So no.
हम्म. हम्म. ये क्या है? सिल्वर प्राइस मैनेजमेंट बाय चाइना. ये व्हाट द हेल इज दिस नाउ? आई हैव नो फ्रिकिंग क्लू. कैन यू शेड सम लाइट? Okay, before we wrap up, because I know you have to go in 5 minutes. Uh, Long story short, where do you think this shit show ending? Um, like this goes to Iran, maybe it doesn't go to Iran. Um, um, eh, like how do you figure this shit out from an Indian perspective? Like, what cards does India play as long as this geopolitical play is concerned?
India doesn't have, it doesn't concern us. It doesn't concern us because, firstly, we will never be in the position of Venezuela to be weak enough for somebody to do this to us. Okay. Second, we're not affected enough by the immediate outcome of it in any form or way. You're looking at some level of maybe price variability of crude, and that's about it. And even there, out of the 100 odd rupees that you pay for a per liter of petrol, diesel, whatever, the actual cost is what, 8, 9, 10 rupees maximum. The remaining 90 rupees are all taxes, government taxes.
Okay, well, you know this latest breaking news where U.S. European Command says the Justice Department and DHS Gov, in coordination with the Department of War, today announced the seizure of MV Bella 1 for violations of U.S. sanctions. The vessel was seized in the North Atlantic pursuant to a warrant issued by a U.S. federal court. मतलब basically उन्होंने उनका तेल का कुछ तो पकड़ लिया है. I mean, what the hell are they doing? They're seizing an oil tanker. Do you know this
Uh,
news? आदित्य
in
ने
the
अभी ट्वीट किया.
This is 6 day old.
तो अभी अभी रशिया क्या करेगा?
Well, that you have to ask them. That you have to ask them.
चलो सब लोग मजा करेंगे बेसिकली. मतलब मेरे को तो समझ नहीं
But
आता
it
है
is
कि
into Venezuelan oil.
last, does this US operation give India green light for attack on Pakistani and Bangladeshi terror nodes and send ground troops? Why do
Yes,
we
it does.
need their approval? We should do it anyway, is my answer.
Now, look, we should, again, if understand, if you do leadership targeting, you will also be leadership targeted. Okay, you can do things to Bangladesh that Bangladesh can't do to you. There are certain things you can do to Pakistan, as we saw from Operation Sindoor, that Pakistan is not able to do to you. The issue is, if we do it to Pakistan and then China decides to do the same to you, then what will you do? Because China can do certain things to you which Pakistan cannot do to you. Like look at Operation Sindoor ka day 234. We were pounding the buggers left, right, and center. The equivalent of bombs going off near Rashtrapati Bhavan, at Palam Indira Gandhi International Airport, at Gurgaon DLF Magnolia. Sorry, Suhail, but DLF Magnolia. And they weren't able to send a single goddamn thing into any target of any notice in India. You had achieved broad spectrum denial. Okay, very significant. Are you able to do the same with China? Because Pakistan may not be able to do it to you, but if you do it to Pakistan, then China will take it as a green light that they can do it to you.
Hmm. Fair enough. All I know is having nuclear weapons helps. Otherwise,
Always.
people can do a lot of things to you.
This is what I always keep saying. Thank you, Vajpayee ji. And thank you, Indira Gandhi ji. Indira Gandhi for first testing it. Rajiv Gandhi to some extent for actually manufacturing the first few bombs, and Vajpayee for finally coming out of the closet. Had you
Yeah,
not had that, all kinds of things would happen to you.
yeah. Those nice, big, powerful nukes that we have kept, that scared the fuck away
Don't
many,
trust
many, many people.
Congress. I don't trust BJP. I don't trust Modi. I don't trust Vajpayee. I don't trust anyone. I trust a nuclear weapon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I think that is the perfect way to end today's podcast. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Abhijit has to go and yell at other people on TV now. All right, chalo, bye. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get worried. तुम्हारे को बम नहीं मारेगा